Christmas tree, oh, Christmas tree. So, a Christmas tree is a pretty important item when Christmas time comes around. And if my family didn't have a Christmas tree on Christmas, it just would not be the same. So, I will be reading a partial out of a classic Dr. Seuss book called How the Grinch Stole Christmas. And I chose this because Christmas is one of my favorite holidays, and I love and very much enjoy spending it with my friends and family. This is for Teddy Owens. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot. But the Grinch, who lived just north of Whoville, did not. The Grinch hated Christmas, the whole Christmas season. Now, please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be, perhaps, that his shoes were too tight. But I think that the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But, whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve, hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now, hanging a mistletoe wreath.
And they're hanging their stockings,
he snarled with a sneer.
Tomorrow's Christmas. It's practically here.
Then he growled, with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming,
I must find a way to stop Christmas from coming.
For tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would wake bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise. Oh, the noise, 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 noise. That's one thing he hated. The noise, 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 noise. Then the Whos, young and old, would sit down to feast. And they'd feast. And they'd feast. And they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beast, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Whos would start singing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought,
I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years, I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming. But how?
Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea.
I know just what to do.
The Grinch laughed in his throat. He made a quick Santa Claus hat and coat. He chuckled and he clucked.
What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like St. Nick. All I need is a reindeer.
The Grinch looked around. But since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch?
No,
the Grinch simply said.
If I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead.
So he called his dog Max. Then he took some red thread and he tied a big horn on top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh and hitched it up to old Max. Then the Grinch said,
Giddy up!
And the sleigh started down towards the homes where the Whos lay a snooze in their town.